Today I've been checking out Starship Troopers Extermination, which is out now on PC and consoles for $39.99. I've been checking out the PC version. Starship Troopers just dropped into 1.0. However, since 1.0, the reviews have dropped from very positive to mixed. So I was interested to see why and how does it compare to the excellent Space Marine 2 and Helldivers, which have both been super well received. First up, as always, gameplay. This is a 16-player co-op FPS. It's crossplay, so you can play with Xbox and PlayStation users, which really helps with matchmaking times. My average waiting time was about 10 to 15 seconds, which is really good. The objective is simple: deploy to an area and wage all-out battle against the bugs. So mostly the game works in objective form. So you'll be given an objective, say clear an area, collect resources, build something. Once you complete that objective, which is called a phase, you move on to the next one. The bugs get a little bit harder, and then you get another objective and you have to complete that. Usually on the final one, it brings the base building aspect in. So you'll be given an area and you all have to work together to build a base and defend it until the drop ship comes. Once the drop ship lands, respawns are turned off. So if you die at this point, it's game over, and it's usually so much chaos you won't get revived. Get to the dropship and escape and you get all your XP. XP is used to level up your character class you're playing as. This is where the grind comes in. So if you want to level up that class, you just keep using it. However, it does mean if you want to try a different class, you basically have to start all over again. You also can't swap classes mid-mission, which is super annoying if you want to try something new, or you've selected a bit of a bad class, or the team composition is off. There's just nothing you can do about it. The 1.0 release brought in a single player campaign, which is very much just a solo tutorial game mode. It has voice work by Casper Van Dien, who played Johnny Rico in the films. It's pretty dull. There are 25 missions, but one will be like walk through a cave, killing some bugs. Next one, walk through the cave, killing a different type of bug. Next one, walk through a cave, doing something else. It's super unengaging, and I really didn't see the point or why it's actually in the game. I feel it was done more to say they have solo content, overthinking what makes good solo content. I just think it should have been like a short tutorial, a bit like Helldivers, to really get you into the action. I really enjoyed having the 16 players on the map. It brings so much chaos, firepower and fun. It makes every battle seem so alive. You are split into squads, but I would say everyone just generally works together as one. I think the game also did a good job with game balance. It never feels like there's 16 of you. You will be fighting for your lives constantly. Dead bugs pile up everywhere, which is a new thing for 1.0. And after the match, there can be hundreds and hundreds of corpses littering the battlefield. Combat-wise, I would say hectic is the best word here, with 16 people marching across the battlefield, killing every bug in sight with special weapons, blowing up things, building things, ammo drops, last stands where there's very little downtime. It is just so hectic. However, I will say I didn't hear any communication on open mic, which was a shame, but somehow everyone just seemed to work together. I don't know how. We mainly always seem to achieve the objective. The bugs are a massive challenge. They are relentless. There are only 9 different types of enemies. 4 are kind of the same enemy, just with like a different skin. You have a few special ones there too. All the guns feel kind of punchy, but I will say my least favorite was probably the machine gun, because it just had far too much recoil. It was all over the place. It was really hard to use. Base building is super easy. You pull out a tool, point it at something, and it builds. You can also place turrets, lookout towers, and stuff like that. There's only a pool of materials for the team to use, so you can't go around just building anything you want to. You really do have to look at what everyone else is doing, but sometimes I would put a gun down quickly just so I could have some fun when the bugs came, but I also know I've probably stolen some valuable resources from the team. Graphics wise, apart from the issue we will cover soon, I think it looks alright. It's pretty decent, to be fair. There's some nice effects and the bugs look good. UI isn't too bad either and follows that typical Starship Troopers aesthetic. Sound design is pretty good. Now on to some of the issues, which is why it's scoring pretty low at the moment. First up is it's pretty bad. Even on an i9-12700 with a 3080 and 48 gigs of RAM, the frame rate is pretty bad at point. I had to drop some settings to medium just to get it to run well. I think this is partly due to the syncing, because if you think of hundreds and hundreds of dead bug bodies across 16 players, and they all have to match up with bugs that are alive as well, I can see why it's running a bit slow. The bugs float and jolt and kind of move at a low FPS. Grenades just kind of hover and blow up, and the character movement can look a little bit rubbish too, especially towards extraction. It can run at super low FPS. There are also disconnects, matches not ending, and not to mention a boatload of bugs and crashes too. To me, a 1.0 should be where everything mainly works, and it just doesn't. And I think people just expect more when you stick the 1.0 label on the game. I don't think this game is anywhere near 1.0 yet. So in conclusion, I think this is a decent shooter. You can have some fun in it. The classes are simple and easy to pick up, and the sheer chaos of battle is pretty cool. But there's quite a bit of grind here. The single player campaign is such low effort. There also isn't enough variety in maps or the bug swarm. It's got performance issue, and believe it or not, £40 worth of DLC already, which is more than the game. I just found Helldivers and Warhammer just better games. They're more stable and they're more fun, but there is something to be said about just picking something up and seeing 15, 16 people charging around the battlefield killing all these bugs. It's not a bad game, I just don't think it's up there with them two. Anyway guys, that's all I've got to say on the matter. Catch us all later. Goodbye.